There is an ancient belief, repeated quietly across cultures and centuries, that rabbits do not belong to humans, humans belong to rabbits. Ancient civilizations understood this not as symbolism, but as insight. To them, rabbits were not merely gentle animals of the earth. They were messengers of instinct, cycles, fertility, and intuition. Creatures that sensed danger before it appeared. Beings that lived close to the ground, close to life, close to the unseen rhythms that govern survival and renewal. Rabbits have always existed at the edge of awareness, alert, sensitive, always listening. They are not dominant, not loud, not aggressive, yet they survive, they endure, they sense what others miss. And in this way, they became symbols of something deeply psychological, the intelligence of vulnerability. Carl Jung sensed this same pattern in his work. He believed that what draws us, not logically, not deliberately, but instinctively, is never random. The images that appear in our dreams, the figures that quietly repeat in our imagination, the animals that pull at our attention without explanation, all rise from the unconscious. They are messages from parts of ourselves we have not yet met fully, reflections of truths we carry without language, emotions we learn to bury, qualities we were taught to suppress in order to survive, to belong, to be safe. And rabbits, more than most creatures, carry this symbolic weight. They do not dominate their environment. They do not force their presence. They remain alert, intuitive, responsive. Rabbits survive not through power, but through perception, through sensitivity, through knowing when to move, when to hide, when to leap forward, and when to remain still. And perhaps this is why they resonate so deeply, because beneath our conditioning, beneath our toughness, beneath what the world demanded we become, many of us learn to survive the same way. Today, I want to share something most people never fully realize. The rabbit you are drawn to is not just a preference. It is not about cuteness, appearance, or which one you would choose as a pet. The pull you feel goes much deeper than that. The rabbit that calls to you is reflecting something back, a part of yourself you have been protecting, a truth you have been carrying quietly, a quality you learned to keep hidden because the world told you it was too sensitive, too cautious, too fragile, or simply unnecessary. Jung taught that we all wear masks. He called this mask the persona, the face we present to the world, the version of ourselves we believe will be accepted, admired, or left unchallenged. But beneath that mask lives the real self, what Jung called the shadow, not something evil, but something unfinished. The parts of us we learn to hide, the instincts we learn to silence, the sensitivity we learn to downplay. And the rabbit you choose does not speak to your persona. It speaks directly to your shadow. Before you are 5 rabbits, each carrying its own energy, its own psychological message, one cautious and alert, one gentle and nurturing, one solitary and observant, one expressive and restless, and one complex, layered, difficult to define. I ask you now not to look at them with your mind, but with something quieter and far more honest. Do not ask which one is the most attractive or the most interesting. Ask instead, which one feels familiar, which one feels like home, which one reaches into a place inside you that you cannot name, but instantly recognize. Take your time. Breathe. Let your body respond before your thoughts do, because the rabbit that calls to you is not speaking to your conscious mind. It is speaking to your unconscious, the part of you that knows the truth, even when you have learned to hide it from yourself. This is not merely a personality test. It is a journey into the hidden chambers of who you are, into the parts of yourself you may have forgotten, into the instincts you still carry but learn to suppress because the world demanded something louder, stronger, less vulnerable. And now the question becomes simple, but profound. Which rabbit chose you? If your attention was drawn to the warm, gentle rabbit, the one that feels safe, familiar, and comforting, then you have chosen the bearer of emotional intelligence. This rabbit reflects a soul that brings calm into chaos. You soften environments. You create safety without effort, People relax around you, often without realizing why. Your presence lowers defenses. Your energy reassures. Jung would associate this with a deeply intuitive archetype, one that understands survival not through force, but through awareness. You sense shifts before they happen. You feel emotional undercurrents others ignore. You know when something is wrong long before it becomes visible. But here is the truth most people never see, because you learn to hide it well. Beneath that gentleness, beneath that calm, beneath that emotional availability, there is fear you have been carrying alone. Fear learned early, fear of conflict, fear of being overwhelmed, fear that if you stop being gentle, you might be abandoned. Sensitivity became your survival strategy. Avoidance became protection. Silence became safety. This is your shadow. Not weakness, but unexpressed strength. You learn to survive by staying small, quiet, adaptable. But you were never meant to disappear to be loved. Rabbits are not fragile because they are weak. They are alert because they are intelligent. Even the rabbit knows when to leap. And this is only the beginning. If your attention moved away from softness and familiarity and settled instead on the dark rabbit, quiet, alert, watchful, your choice was not about appearance, it was recognition. Dark rabbits have always carried projection. Fear, superstition, misunderstanding, not because they are dangerous, but because they are difficult to read. And if this rabbit drew you in, it suggests you carry a depth others often misinterpret. You see beneath surfaces. You are comfortable with silence, grief, and complexity. You understand that light without shadow is incomplete. Jung wrote extensively about the shadow, the rejected parts of the psyche that, when ignored, quietly shape our lives. Dark rabbit souls live close to this realm. You do not run from difficult emotions. You do not escape pain with distraction. Yet beneath this strength lies a quiet loneliness. Living in depth while others remain on the surface can be isolating. Your shadow is not darkness, it is the belief that you must walk alone. But your depth is not a curse, it is wisdom, and there are others searching for someone who can see what you see. If your gaze rested instead on the white rabbit, composed, refined, seemingly effortless, then your soul aligns with order, grace, and control. You have learned how to move through the world polished and contained. People admire you for it. But Jung would call this a powerful persona, perhaps too powerful. Beneath that calm exterior is exhaustion. Maintaining composure and perfection requires constant effort. Your shadow is the fear that without the mask, you may no longer be loved. But grace does not vanish when you rest, it deepens. And those who truly care will not turn away when you allow yourself to be human. If you were drawn to the restless, expressive rabbit, alert, vocal, impossible to ignore, then truth lives in you. You speak when others stay silent. You name what feels wrong. Somewhere along the way, you were told your honesty was too sharp, your presence too intense, and so you learned to carry shame for your voice. But Jung believed that what society asks us to suppress is often what it needs most. Your truth is not a flaw, it is a necessary disturbance. Silence has never healed anything. Awareness has. And if the patterned rabbit, layered and contradictory, called to you, then you embody complexity. You are many things at once. You shift, adapt, evolve. Your shadow is the fear that because you are many, you are not whole. But Jung's idea of the self was never about simplicity. It was about integration. The rabbit does not apologize for its patterns. It survives because of them, and so do you. None of these rabbits were just animals. Each was a mirror. You did not choose randomly, intuition recognized itself. Awareness alone is not transformation, Jung warned. What is revealed must be lived. Wholeness is not becoming someone else. It is allowing yourself to be fully who you already are. Before this moment passes, notice what stayed with you. That quiet recognition is where change begins. If something in this journey felt uncomfortably accurate, don't turn away from it. Insight only transforms a life when it is acknowledged, not avoided. If this reflection resonated with you, Take a moment to like the video, not for the algorithm alone, but so it can reach others who are quietly searching for the same understanding. In the comments, share which rabbit spoke to you. Naming what we recognize gives it clarity, and clarity is where real change begins. And if you feel that this channel speaks to parts of you that are rarely seen or understood, consider subscribing. Not for content, not for trends, but for continuity. Because self-understanding is not a single realization, it is a path, a long one, and no one is meant to walk it alone.